Hey, Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just couldn't resist doing a little bit from Coronation Street there. Well, as you can see, the weather at the moment, there is sun, lots of bright sun. And I've got to be honest, the temperature, according to the local weather forecast, it is, guess what? It is 4 degrees, but it's going to feel like two. Little message from the lovely lady Amanda back in Zakynthos. She says, "Good morning, Ginge. Sunday's weather here. Rain showers in the morning, mainly dry in the afternoon. Temperature is going to be 10, but it's going to feel like 7. Have a great day." Well, as you know, today for me is, I think, day 4 now of my having to isolate after returning from Zakynthos. And today I am doing the little broadcast from upstairs because Jane and her mum are busy doing Christmas decorations downstairs. They've had members of the family coming round collecting stuff. So I'm out of the way at the moment. So doing the broadcast here. Can I just thank everybody for tuning in, and also those people as well who've been following with great gusto what's going on. Big shout out to Tracy Austin. She got released yesterday on the public. She got her results for her testing. Now, what was interesting, she came over before us and only got her results yesterday simply because she had to go and chase them up. All right. And that's something that we're doing today. Jane should have had her results in today, and I should have had my results in today for our second day testing. And Jane technically is allowed out today. Now, I'm supposedly got to go for an appointment tomorrow in Newcastle upon Lyme to be tested again, to be released after 5 days and be allowed, instead of having to do 10 days, because if I have to do 10 days, that takes me up until Christmas Day. And I certainly don't want to be locked in the house up until Christmas Day, as nice as it might be, having people running around after you. But again, I just want to get out and go on the streets and just walk around and feel the fresh air, and also go into a pub, go into a shop, and just do normal things. But again, at the end of the day, we're just playing the game like everybody else is. And everybody that we speak to are sick to death of everything that's going on at the moment and just want life to go back to the way it is. They don't want Christmas to be disrupted any more than it already is being disrupted. And just this, and as I'll say this morning, somebody said to me this morning, shambles of a government in the UK sorts itself out and starts getting a grip and starts basically learning you're going to have to live with it. That's it at the end of the day. All right, you're getting vaccinated. That's your choice. Leave it up to you. But at the end of the day, most people have done what they've been told to do. And now it's like, again, more restrictions on the way, more uncertainty, and trying to be able to plan anything or do anything at the moment is getting nigh on impossible at the moment. But anyway, that's by the by. Me, I'm keeping morale up. Let's have a quick look then at the COVID stats for Greece within the last 24 hours. Just to remind you again, a little message that came out yesterday: despite the growing concerns sparked by the Omicron variant, Greek health authorities said on Friday that the fourth wave of the coronavirus was indeed showing signs of a downward trajectory, as the number of cases and incubations in the new hospital admissions are gradually declining. Can I just say that the figures today actually do back that up? All right. Yesterday, I told you that Greece had 4,766 new infections across the country. Well, that number now is down to 4,345 new infections across the country. So that definitely is a good downward spiral. And just having a quick look at the figures from just, say, 3 days ago, we were at 4,801. It then dropped to 4,696, then to 4,766, a slight spurt yesterday. But today it's gone down again, 4,345. That means the total number of cases since the pandemic started has been 1,031,239. Now, new cases identified into the country, 12 new cases were identified into the country, which was down on the day before. There were 16 cases identified. And at the moment in Greece, there has only been 17 confirmed cases of the Omicron variant in the country. So only 17, all right? And they were mainly in the Lassia, Athens Central sector, Heraklion in Crete, and also Lacona as well. So other words, 17 cases for all the madness that's going on at the moment, all right? Now, when we're looking at the islands, again, the figures, again, for the islands of the Ionian, a little bit up and down in certain areas, but nothing dramatic, to be quite honest. When you look at Lefkada, they had a slight increase on yesterday's 10. They had 11 new cases confirmed there, and they are in the green. When you look at Corfu, they had 65 cases yesterday. That number has dropped slightly. 59 new cases have been detected on that island, and they are in dark red on the Greek traffic light system. In Catalonia, they had 3 new cases confirmed there. That's been dropped down to 2 new cases today within the last 24 hours. They are in the yellow. And when it comes to Zakynthos, we've had a slight increase. If you remember yesterday, it was 5. The day before that, it was 6. Well, today I can report 7 new cases have been reported on Zakynthos, and we are still in the amber. Tomorrow, I will have all the scores from the week all posted up so we can do a comparison between some of the weeks before as to where the trajectory is going for the epidemiology for Zakynthos and also the islands, which I always do on a Monday. However, tomorrow, just be aware, I'm not sure what time I'll do a broadcast on Monday because I've got to go to Newcastle upon Lyme to get tested for freedom. All right, so it might be a bit late tomorrow. Anyway, let's have a quick look at deaths in Greece as well in the last 24 hours. Good news there as well. Although every death is a sad death, the number has gone down. Yesterday, I reported 85 deaths. The day before that, I reported 96. And the day before that, I reported 77. And then don't forget, last Wednesday, we had 130 deaths, which was the highest death toll since the beginning of the pandemic in Greece at 130. Well, today I can report there's been 63 new deaths across the country. Again, most of those people had underlying health diseases. 90% of them had that, and or were over the age of 70. That brings the death toll in Greece now since the pandemic started to 19,799. And once again, can we send our sincere condolences to those families that are affected by that. And at the moment, there has been no deaths in Greece being linked to the Omicron variant, all right? When it comes to hospitalizations in Greece as well, at the moment, that is also looking good because there's been a stabilization, all right? Yesterday, I reported there was 68 cases of 684 cases of people in incubation across the country in Greece. Well, that number is still remaining at 684 today. Now, of those cases, that 684, 408 are male, 276 are female. The average age of those people is around about 64 years of age. 81% of those people have underlying health conditions or are over the age of 70. Now, regarding their vaccination status, 561 of them are actually unvaccinated or partially vaccinated. Again, we're not sure what they mean by partially vaccinated, whether they're classing a booster. Having your third booster means that you haven't had it, you're then technically partially vaccinated. So that changes all the figures around in some respects if you want to dive really deeply into it. But 123 of that 684 are fully vaccinated. So again, keeping an eye on those figures. Right, now, as always, a quick snapshot of what's going on here in the UK while we're here in regards to what's going on with the COVID. Can I just say, first of all, congratulations to all those people who turned out in London yesterday. They went on a freedom march yesterday in London. Thousands of people turned out. You may have seen that I put up on my Facebook page yesterday links from Alex Belfield about what was going on. Two links from Alex Belfield, one about early on in the day and then one a little bit later on, talking to people in the streets about their feelings, etc. Basically, everybody's had enough. You might then remember later that evening, Sadiq Khan then decided to call an emergency in London. I think he felt that he wasn't putting enough of an appearance in. In fact, he wants to concentrate on sorting out knife crime in London before he starts worrying about what's happening with the NHS and everything else. But anyway, he definitely was raising the stakes about lockdowns and everything else there, which again, I think he was having his thunder stolen by these marchers in his city while he was staying quiet on the fence, and he had to get embroiled somewhere. But anyway, that's by the by. The big story this morning at the moment in the UK, which is Brexit and also COVID related, is that the Brexit Minister, Lord Frost, sensationally resigned from Boris Johnson's government. This dramatic move was triggered by the growing disillusionment that he had with the direction of Tory policy. Now, Lord Frost is understood to have handed in his resignation to the Prime Minister a week ago, but was persuaded to stay on until January. Now, his departure was prompted by the Plan B measures, also by tax rises and the net zero politics. Basically, you're doing something which is green and you can't see anything coming back from it, and concerns over travel as well. However, disappointingly, he was not one of the Tory rebels that voted against Plan B in that last sitting in Parliament. But I suppose he was going with the government because that's the way he probably is, a bit old school. But at least he had the balls to get up and resign and say, enough's enough from me, I'm walking away. And in fact, as far as Brexit is concerned, he's actually been quite good on the Brexit front. And to see him walk away obviously means that there's going to be more of a look at Boris. Is Boris the right person to continue running the Tory party? And all the others now, your Michael Goves and your Chancellor, are all going to be vying maybe to try and get his position. But we'll wait and see if Boris lasts until the end of the year. But anyway, interestingly then, Boris also, as a recount yesterday, said he's personally opposed to a pre-Christmas COVID curbs despite the scientific warnings. Britain recorded a further 90,418 COVID cases as SAGE's advisors said the country must lock down. Deaths had actually fallen in the UK, believe it or not, this week. They'd fallen by 5%, although they had risen by 21 deaths actually on the ground, rather than looking at the actual mathematics of it on yesterday's UK-wide total. So again, it's been going down, infection rates in a lot of rephrase that. Hospitalizations had been going down, and also deaths had been going down as well. And again, this rhetoric that's going on now, Boris now wants to keep Christmas going. Maybe something's going to happen in the new year, but we'll wait and see. I was talking to certain people in reasonable positions in local councils who were saying they've not had any heads up yet at the moment of anything on the horizon. Now, at the meantime, hospitality bosses had warned ministers amidst the rhetoric on the new mutant strain had hit consumer confidence. However, pictures again from Friday night and last night showed the party spirit was alive and well across Britain's biggest cities. I'm not sure what it was like here in Leek. I've not heard any feedback as to how things have been going on here, whether people are still going out and enjoying themselves and saying, sod it, if we're going to catch it, we're going to catch it. We're just going to go out. We're going to enjoy ourselves as much as we can, just in case it's all changed at the last minute and some kind of lockdown comes in. Also, as well, CBI and other groups are still asking the Chancellor Rishi Sunak for emergency grants. They want a drop in VAT. That sounds so Greece, that does, a drop in VAT. I thought the VAT went towards the European Union. I thought VAT would be phased out with Brexit. But anyway, that's as by the by. Anyway, and they're also asking for 100% business relief for retail as well. So the shops as well getting some kind of thing back. Again, it just sounds so like Greece in some respects as well. Now, going back to the SAGE minutes, all right, this is the health authorities here in the UK, leaked SAGE minutes which urged restrictions as a 2-week circuit breaker lockdown was modelled, which was mooted by ministers. There has still been no mention of this emergency Cobra meeting that's been planned over the weekend as to where it's going to lead. It's all gone very quiet in some respects in certain areas of the government, and where you'd expect to hear some feedback as to what's going to happen, we're not hearing it. We're being diverted again to David Frost's resignation from the cabinet as the Minister of Brexit, believe it or not, and everybody's looking over there, and everything seems to be trundling on over there. The other thing is that the number of people in hospital in the UK with the Omicron variant, that actually rose by 20 to 85, believe it or not. These are people in hospital, okay, across the country, 20 to 85 with the Omicron variant. It's also been said as well, and you've got to really go through the fine detail in the newspapers at the moment to find certain stories. 10 deaths were recorded in the UK, which is up from the 1 from Omicron. Again, no detail on any of these deaths as to whether these people passed away from the Omicron or they had the Omicron, but they had other underlying diseases or problems, then that was the reason why they were in hospital. So again, there has been recorded 10 deaths. But whether it's from the Omicron or with the Omicron, again, the detail isn't there. And it's the detail I think a lot of people would actually like to know as well. Right. Let's now have a look at the Greek news at the moment. I'm just going to quickly reiterate this message that I said yesterday for anybody who's going over to Zakynthos at the moment. Travellers to Greece, I've got to remind you, you're going to need a negative COVID-19 PCR test to enter the country as part of efforts to curb the spread of the corona pandemic. The measure actually takes effect from the 19th, which is today, all right? And the tests that you have got to be no more than 48 hours old. So that's just a little heads up. Big shout out to Tracy Lawrence, all right? Just to let you know, my darling, it's all changed for going back, my love, all right? Also as well, yes, here we go. Here's the first story, actually. I hadn't highlighted it. It's caught me out. Anyway, young adults aged between 18 to 25 in Greece who have received their first or only dose of the COVID vaccine by December 31st will be issued with the so-called Freedom Pass. Yeah, that's a Greek system. It's like their COVID passport, but for Greece, all right? Now, the digital card credited with €150, all right, by the state, which they can spend on transportation and various tourism and leisure activities. That's a kind of a reward of €150 that anybody between the age of 18 to 25, that's what they get. I wonder if we'll have the same case like we had of the guy who went round 10 times for 10 jabs. Where was that? Where did that happen? In Australia, went for 10 jabs because, again, he was getting paid for it. But anyway, that's what's happening in Greece. The Freedom Pass issued by the end of this year will be valid until June the 30th. The government clarified after conflicting reports suggesting that new cards would be issued for people who already have one in the new year. Last week, the Greek government said it was extending the Freedom Passes by 6 months until summer to help holders make full use of their credits. The scheme has already benefited more than 500,000 people. Might have financially benefited them. How will it financially how will it benefit them when they get older in life after having 2 jabs, now 3 jabs of the vaccine? We will wait and see. And again, I'm not anti-vaxxer. I am pro-choice. If you want to have it, you go ahead and have it, but just think very carefully, all right, if you do have it. Anyway, meanwhile, the Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis announced 3 new relief measures on Saturday to help households, businesses and farmers tackle the spike in energy prices. Speaking at the final day of the Parliamentary Debate on the 2020 state budget, he announced an additional increase in state subsidies for electricity bills for December, a further 40% reduction in natural gas bills for this month, and a substantiation of the biggest proportion of the reallocation of the agricultural energy tariffs from the months of August to December. So the farmers looks like they're going to get a little bit back as well. Now, another thing, SYRIZA, they're like the opposition, the major opposition party in Greece. It used to be PASOK, the Labour Party there, but unfortunately the Labour Party in Greece just died a death and SYRIZA took their place. Anyway, SYRIZA, the Progressive Alliance leader, Alexis Tsipras, he is the head of SYRIZA. He's called for the resignation of the Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis, accusing him of failing to deal effectively with the pandemic. Anyway, he said that your government has proved ineffective and incapable of managing the country's big problems. It also proved authoritarian, indifferent to the anxieties of the vast majority of society. Anyway, the Tisseris-Lacris study alone would have been enough, ignoring the experts, which cost thousands of lives, but also the lies that follow its publication, for any government of any European country to resign. He also said, addressing the Premier, he was talking to him during the final day of the debate for the 2020 state budget. Anyway, Tsipras was actually referring to a study by Zakynthos, the head of the infectious diseases of the National Public Health Organization, and the epidemiologist Theodoros Litras, Professor of Public Health at the European University of Cyprus, which found that deaths outside of intensive care units. The 2 authors noted that the incubation out the ICUs had a mortality rate of 87%. And this caused a massive political storm in Greece. Now, just quickly again, going back to the budget for Greece for 2022, the Greek Parliament approved it last night. It went through at 158 to 142 on Saturday, with only the ruling Conservative New Democracy Party, that is Mitsotakis' party, voting for the budget as a whole. It seems that the Socialist Movement for Change, that's a political party over in Greece, and also the right-wing populist Greek Solution, they also voted only for the defence spending part of the budget. And trust me, Greece is spending a lot of money on its military at the moment. They've got something like 16 warships actually in the pipeline to actually go ahead and buy. And we're not talking small little patrol boats, we're talking frigate-sized vehicles, not to mention F-16s and also more modern fighter jets from America. And there's also talk of Greece maybe getting the F-35 at the moment as well. Where the money's coming from for all of that, God knows. Anyway, the parliamentary debate over the budget was extremely polarised, and a lot of the critics who were watching it said it reminded them of the early days of the financial crisis in 2010. Opposition leader and former Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, I didn't mention that he was actually the former Prime Minister for a while with the SYRIZA party, who described the actual government as morally bankrupt, calling on their Mitsotakis to resign and call an early election more than a year and a half before the end of his parliamentary term. Anyway, but he also went beyond that in the language that invoked memories of one used by former US President Donald Trump's supporters. And it wasn't let's make Greece great again. I'll just say that now. He said, I call on Greeks to resist politics of arrogance, corruption and decay you represent. I call on Greeks to demand the government of a guilty leave. I call on the Greeks to impose their constitutional right to decide for themselves about their own tomorrow. That's what he was saying. But anyway, without saying so explicitly, Tsipras was invoking the Article 120 of the Greek Constitution, which refers to the right of the Greek people to resist tyranny. Now, why is it mandatory vaccination is not being called a form of tyranny, along with COVID passports, etc.? Don't forget, Greece has fired all its health workers who weren't vaccinated from its healthcare system. So again, they're under pressure to obviously treat the cases that they're having of people coming in, because they can't find the staff to replace those who basically had their jobs taken off them because they refused to conform and have the vaccine. But that's a little aside there, just for you to think about. All right. Anyway, Mitsotakis also ruled out the possibility of any early elections, mocking Tsipras, he said, whose party consistently trails New Democracy by double digits in the polls. Obviously, people are more in favour with New Democracy than they are with what Tsipras was doing at the time. He also called it... He also said that Tsipras's abrasive speech was motivated by the recent rise in the polls of the movement of change. Now, the movement of change has just elected a new leader, and they are kind of seen as the new third party that has come out of the destruction of PASOK and obviously the split within Tsipras's party, which is SYRIZA. And this third party has kind of evolved out of that. So anyway, Michalis Klanatas, the Movement for Change's parliamentary group leader, in a speech citing the budget, said the party does not opposition with screams and extreme behaviour. So he says they're not going to shout and get involved in everything. They're going to be more dignified in their approach to what they see is good and bad in the Greek budget for 2022. Anyway, the SYRIZA MPs then interrupted and insulted the Minister of State, Kyriakos, who initially undertook to respond to Tsipras's, but they then all decided that they would leave the chamber and obviously not bother to listen to the replies that were going to come from him. So again, all in all, it's like, interesting time in the Greek Parliament. And just if you're curious, at the end of the debate, the parliamentary speaker noted that the 5-day budget debate lasted actually over 61 hours, 225 MPs and 36 ministers actually spoke for and against the Greek budget. So it's gone through. So there you go. Anyway, and finally, just a quick bit of news, which is interesting. The Greek Tourism Confederation, or SETE, as most people know it over in Greece, has set a target for tourism revenues of 27 billion euros and 50 million arrivals and 307 million overnight stays by the year 2030, following the Hellenic Tourism's 2030 study, which was drafted by Delonti and Romeco, a consortium. Now, the plan that SETE will recommend to the government aims to gradually reduce Greek tourism's seasonal character, as well as expanding tourism activity to more regions of the country and increasing visitors' average expenditure and time to spend in the country. Basically what they're saying, they're going to now start to move Greece away from basically a summer only kind of season and expand it into more 365 day a year tourism, as most other nations have. Looking at Cyprus, prime example, they were just a summer destination. And then because they got the mountains and Troodos and they got skiing, and because people just like staying there in the winter, they then slowly evolved into a 365 day a year, all year round tourism, which has its peaks and troughs within that 365 day a year cycle. And I've always said Zakynthos could quite easily be a 365 day a year tourism place. It would totally change the dynamic of tourism within the island of Zakynthos. Could we do stuff in the winter? I'm sure we could do a limited tourism program in the winter. There are things happening like Carnival and Easter and things, activities like that. But again, this hope that maybe this golf course and this new resort up in Volymez, once all of that issue has been cleared up, if we get a golf course, as we've always said, and I've always said this, that would automatically create an interest and would obviously create a demand for people to come out of season, as it is now, to go and use those facilities. And again, people could come for long weekends, long breaks, etc. in Zante Town, or even some of the resorts might even open on a very, very limited way. And again, it would definitely create more employment, because you can't work like you work in the summer all year round, and it might be good for the economy of the island as well. But anyway, we're going to wait and see. I'm going to bang it on the head there. I think I've burbled on long enough. Thank you to all those people that are tuning in. Big shout out to Dennis Patrick Carroll, who's over there in Cyprus as I speak. Also Shane Bowen up there on Exmoor. Nice for you tuning in, buddy. Quick reminder, don't forget that my Northern Soul show gets broadcast tonight at 5 p.m. Local time here in the UK, which is 7 p.m. in the UK. 7 p.m. in Greece. I'll be in the chat room. If you want to come in and say hello, make any requests or dedications for future shows of your favourite Northern Soul tracks, then come and join me. I'll be there. And thank you to those people who tuned in again last night for the repeat show of the Dance Anthem show. That show will go up online later in the day onto Mixcloud, so you can listen to it at your convenience. And can I say, the show before last did really well in the Mixcloud global chart by going to number 96 on the big chart, which was absolutely amazing. And it's still in the electronic dance, no, it's in the tech house chart at the moment at around about 99, so it's probably going to disappear out, but we'll wait and see. But anyway, so don't forget tonight, Northern Soul. Once again, thank you for all the support. I'll keep my ear to the ground. If I hear of anything, I'll let you know. And I may be here tomorrow. I may not be here tomorrow early. It'll just depend on how things work out for today, but I'll keep you posted anyway. I'm so looking forward to getting out and getting myself out onto the streets and out round the back of the houses here in Leek. Anyway, I'll catch you later. You take care and have a great day. Ta-ra.